Good evening. I would like to welcome everyone to the Town of Lexington Council meeting. This council meeting is being held at Town Hall Tuesday evening, September the 3rd, 2024. This meeting is being broadcast live on the town's YouTube channel. I am Hazel Livingston, the mayor of the Town of Lexington, and I would like to introduce my fellow council members. To my left is Mayor Pro Tem Ron Williams.
Good evening.
To his left is Council Member Todd Lyle.
Good evening.
To his left is Council Member Jenny Michaels.
Good evening.
To my right is Council Member Todd Carnes.
Good evening.
To his right is Council Member Gavin Smith.
Good evening.
And Council Member Will Allen is out sick tonight. And before I go into our invocation and our pledge, I would also like to recognize two other visitors that we have here. One of them is our Congressman Joe Wilson is here with us, and I'd like to say welcome and thank you for coming and being with us tonight. And then we also have our former mayor, Randy Halfacre, and welcome. It's glad to have you here tonight, too. At this time, I'd ask that Pastor Dan Williams with Lexington Baptist Church come up and give our invocation for us.
Thank you, Mayor. It's such an honor to be here and pray for this meeting tonight. And before I pray, let me just clarify, if you look on Main Street, there's a big scaffolding with stairs going up. We're not building the stairway to heaven. So it's an honor to be here.
I was fixing to start up it if we were.
Let's pray together. Our Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight with hearts full of thanksgiving and praise for you. We thank you so much for all you're doing in our town. I thank you for the 36 years that I've been able to live here and just love Lexington so much. I thank you for each member of this council. We just pray that you will lead and guide all the decisions that are made here, and let your Holy Spirit just impact our lives with your presence. I thank you so much for the blessings. And we know, we're very well aware that there are many people right now that are suffering, people that are struggling, elderly. You have a heart for the widow and the orphan, and we want to just follow in your lead and making this town a better place to live. Let everywhere we go the fragrance of love from the Lord Jesus emit from our lips, from our actions, everything we do. So we ask your blessings on this meeting tonight. Let everything be done according to your will. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And at this time, please welcome U.S. Air Force veteran Master Sergeant Darren Wiseman to lead us in our pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Is there any deletions from tonight's agenda? Hearing none, I will give a report on our executive session that we met prior to this meeting. In the executive session, we had one routine personnel matter, discussion regarding national PFAS lawsuit, issues related to business license, advice regarding agenda items, issues related to potential property purchases within town limits. No vote was taken. Do I hear a motion to ratify this report?
So moved.
Councilmember Lyle makes the motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams seconds it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in your favor, raise your right hand. And it is unanimous. A copy of the minutes from the August the 5th, 2024 council meeting are attached. Are there any omissions, additions, or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams makes the motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Councilmember Michaels seconds it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your right hand. And it is unanimous. Now I'll give a vision plan update. The Old Mill Pond Trail, we're making extreme progress at the Old Mill Pond Trail. Shrubs are being planted and sod is going to be laid tomorrow. Most of the beds have been mulched, but there's still more to do. Some dead trees have been taken down. Once these final items are completed, we will announce an opening date. The trail is just one of our vision plan projects. For more information on all the projects we're working on, visit lexsc.gov. Next up, our Mayor Pro Tem Ron Williams will give the traffic update.
Thank you, Mayor. Whataburger has begun construction on the right turn lanes on both South Lake Drive and Industrial Drive out near I-20. No lane closures are anticipated, but we ask that you please exercise caution when you're in this area. Road improvements on Coily Mill Road at the entrance of River Ridge subdivision continues. Expect delays and plan accordingly to allow adequate time to reach your destination safely. As a reminder, the next traffic committee meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, September the 4th at 8 a.m. at Town Hall here in the third floor conference room. We encourage you to follow the Town of Lexington social media outlets for traffic alerts and updates. Please call 803-358-7273 to report any traffic signal issues, unsafe roadway conditions, or a pothole that needs immediate repair. That's all.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Next up, we'll do our presentation, and our first presentation tonight is from Chief Brittany Jones, Director of Lexington County Animal Services, to review the animal service ordinance that we'll be voting on tonight.
Thank you all for having me. I was asked about the identification. Would you like me to go through all the ordinance changes or just the identification?
I think just the identification.
Okay. The identification ordinance was already in place. It was just worded differently. So prior to my change that I put forth with the amendment, a collar and a tag was required. So we got several animals in, and those animals did not have a collar, and if they had a collar, it didn't have a tag. So one of the things I was looking into was our numbers, how many animals we got in without identification. And that number last year was 2,209 stray animals. From there, only 546 animals were reclaimed. With this, the microchip is one and done. You get it, the identification is there, and you don't pay another fee. Some microchip companies do require an annual fee. You can look into that before the purchase of the microchip. There are different routes to get your animal microchipped. The shelter does microchipping. It's $10 at the shelter. We're currently in the process of looking at the logistics to do free microchipping up to 100 chips throughout the areas where we have the highest intake. And then, but again, just working on the logistics of that. That's not set in stone. But it's something that we want to do for the community so that they can see that we're just trying to make sure these animals can get returned to the owner, because the biggest part is how many we take in and never get reclaimed. And that goes towards our euthanasia rate, which I don't know if you guys are familiar right now, but the euthanasia rate is high 30s. Almost 40%. That's creeping back up. During COVID, it got down as low as 7%, which is a no-kill rate, and now we're already almost at 40%, and it was only 4 years later, I would say. To go back to pricing, a lot of people have questions about the pricing. The microchip, like I said, you have a variety of prices that every organization may offer, but Palmetto Lifeline, they offer pits and pit mixes for free. They do have another fee for other animals. That's $30. Ours is $10 across the board unless we are doing a special or an event. There's a rescue called We Are Zeus, ran by Elaine Henderson. She does microchip events. She's had 3 in the town of Lexington. She has a 4th one planned, not this weekend, but next weekend. And she charges $10 if you can prove low income, or $15 if you can't. The Humane Society is another resource. There's several resources, including your own vet. Your own vet can do it for you, but it's usually more expensive, yes, if you do take your animal to your vet to get it done. Although, back to the original ordinance that's already in place, is the collars. The average price of a collar is $10. You have to replace that collar as that pet grows. That's another $10. You have to replace that collar as it gets lost. That's another $10. Again, that's an average price. They range from $5 to $20. Then you have a tag. This tag is supposed to have your identification on it. So that's a personalized tag. So the average price of a personalized tag is about $15. That ranges from $10 to $22. And you have to replace that. Tags come off. My personal pets, they're inside animals. They have lost their tags before. They're also microchipped now, though. So that's something that we were pushing forward to see a difference. And since the microchip ordinance, where we can enforce it, has been in place, there is a dramatic change in our numbers. So 100 less animals have been euthanized from the same time period last year to this year, starting July 1 till today, September 3rd. It's 100 number difference in the euthanasia. Reclaims went up over 30 animals, and then owned animals that came in 30 as well. And then stray animals are only down 5, but you can see it in the other numbers, the difference. We've also went ways of education with events that I'm trying to plan currently. Social media, there's several articles out there. Our officers are responding. We ran 9,000 calls last year. It is looking to go up from there. Every time our officer runs a call, it's like a police officer that pulls you over and asks for your driver's license, insurance. We ask for ID, proof of rabies vaccine, and proof of identification of that animal. And we carry scanners on the truck, so we're not expecting anyone to buy a scanner. We will scan that pet. We give an educational period. It's usually a 7-day follow-up. And then if they don't comply by then they could receive a citation. And that citation then is what we could consider as a fix-it ticket and give them an even extended amount of time to get it done prior to court, and then when court comes, we can look at no processing that citation. Again, the biggest thing is just the influx of animals that come into the shelter, also holding the public accountable for the animals that do these attacks, whether it be on people or animals. And there's no ownership behind that animal, so it comes to the shelter. The owner never reclaims it. They actually just get another dog, is usually the process. And there's no restitution that goes back to that community member. So there's a lot to it, but that's really the biggest parts, is just helping the owners, but also helping the shelter.
So do you have to call and make an appointment to get the chip put in?
At Animal Services, you do not. Yeah, so they can walk in. That's actually in the most recent article. It's a walk-in basis as long as we're open. So if we're open, you can walk in there, and we are open on Saturdays as well.
Okay. You have any questions?
Yes, I do, mate. So the ordinance related to identification, collar identification, like is that ordinance been in effect for decades?
I would say so. I've been with Animal Services for around 9 years, and that ordinance has always been in there.
And so when was the new ordinance passed, relatively speaking, that went from like a collared identification to a required chip?
That was in May of this year. I can't give the exact date.
Right. No,
Okay.
I'm not looking for it. Just general terms.
May.
So my understanding is there's a new ordinance in place, and obviously at that point, I'm not sure if there's an amnesty period, but like you pass that ordinance, and all of a sudden 50,000 people in Lexington County are in violation of that ordinance, like the day it passes, unless there's some kind of amnesty period.
So we give time. We talked about it in the county council meeting about a year of education, but we also have the understanding that if we go out to your home, and we're going to be out there for a different violation, we're not knocking door to door to find someone that doesn't have an animal that's chipped. We're going to be at your property because we got a complaint about something else. While we're there, we check for those 3 things: the rabies, the identification, and then your identification. If you're in violation at that point, we'll give you 7 days, because that's what we give for all of our violations. Again, you have an extended period of time to get it done if you don't get it done after the 7 days. And that would be with the fix-it ticket. I will also say our officer discretion is it's there. We understand. We just ask the public to communicate with us.
Right. Yeah, and I don't think anybody's arguing over the cost of these things. Anybody that has a pet, $10 to get it chipped is not a big deal. I'm just curious. It just, I mean, a lot of people have indoor dogs and they have a fenced backyard, and all of a sudden, not us, and this is out of our lane. We were just curious. You guys run, animal control in Lexington County. We're certainly glad you do. Like it's above our pay grade. We don't want to get in that game, but it just, I guess I think the question I had, I think multiple of us had, you got an indoor pet, and you got a fenced-in backyard, and all of a sudden the governmental authorities have the authority to come in and tell you have to have your dog chipped. That feels like a real strong government overreach stretch to me, but I'm not in that lane, but if I had a pet like that, I would certainly be at county council asking, do you guys feel like this is overreach? Because I would feel like that's overreach. I certainly understand the counter proposal where people got dogs running in the streets and they bite somebody and nobody knows whose it is, so there's nobody to hold accountable. But obviously with great freedom comes some of those liabilities that everybody has to deal with. And I know that's not your call. I know it's a county council call. I think that was the overriding question was, is everybody comfortable with that kind of government overreach? And we just wanted to ask questions around that to understand. We're certainly smart enough to know we don't understand the why and even some of your explanations. Mm-hmm. I understand it's not an easy decision because you are often dealing with stray animals that are causing chaos and you can't tie them to an individual. So I understand that rationale. Mm-hmm. Very difficult decision. I was curious as to why and how we got to where we're at.
Yeah, just the plain simple, the numbers, the number of stray animals that come in to include those stray animals typically have a case connected to them that goes nowhere. So again, you just have community members that have outstanding restitution they can't pay for, whether it be medical bills on their livestock themselves, property damage, whatever the case may be. And then again, there is already an identification ordinance there that mandates everyone, even inside pets, to have a collar and a tag. So it's very similar. It's forever. It's one and done. They don't have to worry about the collar, the tags, washing the dog, and taking the collar off and then the dog slipping out. They don't have to worry about any of that. They can have that identification, and it's not something that the general public can see. So for example, dogs that get stolen, if they have a name tag on, that person automatically knows where to avoid and that animal's name, so they can bond with that animal and possibly even look at reselling that animal because the animal will have a bond with them and they can act as the owner. Rather than a microchip will have a number, and then if you scan that animal and you have a scanner, you can see that number, and then you call the microchip company and they will ask you who you're with, where you're from, where the animal is, and everything like that.
Yeah, I understood. Now, and I have a good friend who lives in Atlanta who had his car stolen with his dog in it, and they took the dog, and it was some kind of poodle, and it was white, and they dyed all the hair pink. It took him about a month. He actually found it, got it back, trying to get her bleached blonde again. But it was. But I understand the argument. I don't think I would be comfortable mandating everybody to chip their pet. There's a huge difference, I think, between collaring and chipping. But again, that's not our lane. I just wanted to ask the questions, and that's county council's prerogative. Thanks for coming.
I'm going to give him an example. I have an inside dog that has a fenced yard.
Is it chipped?
Not yet, but
what's the fine? How much is the fine?
Give me a minute, okay?
I want to know what the fine is.
But if it thunders, and if you're not right there beside of him, he's going to run like Forrest Gump. And that's no joke. And you're going to chase him, and it's no telling where he's going to end up.
Yep.
Because, he's gone, and you got to be in your car chasing him because he's gone. So he will be chipped now that I'll be bringing him.
I'll give you her address.
He has his collar and his name tag, but, hey.
Madam,
Thank you.
Good. Yes, go ahead.
Brittany, I just wanted to say thanks for being here. I was like Todd, sort of had some heartburn about mandating every member of the county having a chip in their dog, but I certainly hear the statistics that you shared with us tonight, and while I still have a little bit of heartburn, I understand the sentiment of it. It seems like it is for the greater good, and if it can help, if my dog got lost, I would be brokenhearted. My dog's like my kid, so if this will help return a dog to their parent or their owner, then I think there's positive that comes out of that. I'd also just like to say, as you're working to rehome dogs that maybe you can't reunite them with their owner, last year, I think it was a policy update that we did for the ice house, where we made space for y'all,
Okay.
So that y'all can come over and do an animal adoption.
This was at the market?
Yes.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, so-
I was getting ready for the academy, but I do think I remember
Yeah,
that.
we'd love to have y'all come over and do that. Maybe we can send some.
Chip in there.
Yeah, maybe we can
Bring
send some,
Diego to see you.
maybe we can send some dogs home in the town. So, thank you for being here.
Mayor
Thank
will
you.
get her dog chipped.
That's right. I'm gonna come see you, I promise.
Mayor, Rachel, can we get staff to, once we vote on this, can we get staff to do a Facebook push on it so people understand
Where they can go and all
where they
that
can
judging.
go and what the options are? Great information.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank y'all.
Our next presentation is a proclamation to the Soda City FC Semi-Pro Soccer Team presented by Councilmember Todd Garnes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You guys want to come up?
I think we got some athletes back there. You guys want to
like
just
you
come
got a
up
lot
and
of-
huddle up around that podium so that you're on camera. And put your spokesman right there front and center. And let me read this proclamation bragging on you guys for a second, and then we'll hear from you guys as we celebrate a little bit. This is a proclamation of the mayor and council for the town of Lexington recognizing the Soda City FC Semi-Pro Soccer Team for winning the National United Premier Soccer League Championship. Whereas the 2024 United Premier Soccer League Championship Tournament recently concluded in Pittsburgh, PA, and whereas the Soda City FC team from South Carolina beat Inland Empire FC from Rochester, New York in overtime by a score of 3-2 in the UPSL Championship game, and whereas Soda City FC has become the second team to qualify for the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup and only the 9th amateur team ever to qualify for the tournament. And whereas this is Soda City's first time qualifying for the Open Cup after narrowly missing out on making the tournament in 2 local qualifying appearances, and whereas the team is coached by local entrepreneur George Trifos, who is especially excited about becoming a national champion, now therefore be it proclaimed by the mayor and council for the town of Lexington that the Soda City FC team is hereby recognized and congratulated for its triumph in winning the 2024 United Premier League National Championship, proclaimed this 3rd day of September 2024 by your mayor and your council. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you very much.
Why don't we hear from you guys, and then we're going to come down and take a photo with you guys because I want to brag about beating those boys from New York.
Sure, thank you. It's a great honor to be here today. Thank you, Madam Mayor, council members. We appreciate the time and the recognition. We've been a part of this community for a very long time. I personally have been entrenched in this community when George Trifos, our coach, when O'Hara's wasn't O'Hara's, it was Main Street Cafe and Grill. He owned it for many, many years. The old courthouse was right next door. And so to see how the city has grown and the town has grown has been pretty cool to see from an outsider perspective that has lived and been in the community and seen those things firsthand change. And when we created this organization back in 2018, myself and President and co-founder Tony Baker, we intended to just have a passion project to help the local youth, the local young men and women extend their playing careers and to showcase our local talent on a national level. We also wanted to show how beautiful our town is through the beautiful game. And it delivers a lot to not only the kids on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. We're trying to create good stewards of the community. We're trying to make the community as a whole better. We're trying to get more recognition from people that have never been here before to come and visit and see how much we have to offer. And winning the national championship on the men's side was a great catalyst for that. But also we're very hyper-focused on our women's program. It's not just about the men. And that's why we have announced that we are intending to bring, and we have declared intent to do so with the WPSL Pro League. We're going to be the first team to bring, the first club to bring a women's professional team, not only to the great cities and town here in Lexington or Columbia, but we want to be the first to bring that women's professional team to our great state of South Carolina. So many skip our great town, right? They go to Charleston, they go to Greenville. Well, we are centrally located. We are a hub. We are connected through everything. Everything flows through here. And why not bring this team and showcase what we have right here and not get skipped? And also make sure that we are delivering those opportunities to our great community. We have local businesses that we can showcase. We have, it's not about chains, it's about your local mom and pop feels and getting that recognition. And that's what we're all about. It's enhancing our community, staying entrenched, being even more entrenched and connected to the community, to the local business owners, and hopefully showcase this on a national level as well. So any help that we could get, we would greatly appreciate that. Also, we are partnering with the Lexington Soccer Academy, where we have over 2,000 kids that wear our badge every day, that are their family members are watching these young men and young women coach and deliver their development. They have somebody to look up to, and that goes a long way. As we all remember, when we were young, we looked up to somebody for something, and that's what we want to do. We want to give back to the game that's given us so much, and it starts with the kids. And so from start to finish, we want to build this entire holistic ecosystem that delivers from start to finish, from youth to adult, and help kids reach their potential and their aspirations on and off the pitch. So thank you so much for the recognition today. It's been a great privilege to be here.
Thank you so much. Now, the mayor and I are going to come down and get a picture with you guys before y'all sneak
And
away.
Madam Mayor, we'd like to present you with a scarf.
And folks, while he's doing that, I'd like to speak also. I'm Rick Cunningham. I'm the president of Lexington Soccer Academy. Good to see you again, old-time customer of mine. And I don't have to speak for 10 minutes because he's taken most of my material. But I've been coaching soccer in Lexington since 1989. I was gone for 10 years when I worked at the state level, the association. I enjoy soccer. I enjoy teaching soccer. He mentioned 2,000 kids. If you haven't been by the soccer complex, which is a mile from here, and if you don't know where it is, I'll be glad to give you directions. But right now, you'll go over there, and there's going to be probably 1,500 to 2,000 kids and parents there because we've just started with our recreation season. Our academy season started about 3 weeks ago. We bring a tournament in at the first weekend of February, which brings in 140 to 200 teams, which helps the local economy. But on a weekly basis, when we have, not during the summer, because we usually take the summer off and we take Christmas off, but if you look at your revenues with the restaurants around here and other businesses, we actually have thousands of kids that come through here. We're a location where teams from Greenville and teams from Charleston come to play. And I've been behind them at rushes before at 8 o'clock at night on a Sunday night while they were buying food. So we bring a lot of money into the economy here of the city. The fields are actually in the city limits, and we appreciate you watching out for us. Thank you very much. These are our friends. We have a partnership with them. We try to help them as much as we possibly can, and thanks for doing this for them today. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
It's not with us, actually. He's in Newberry. Thank you very much.
Our next presentation is from Mayor Pro Tem Ron Williams, will present a proclamation regarding Constitution Week.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a proclamation of the mayor and council for the town of Lexington, South Carolina, designating September 17th through the 23rd 2024 is Constitution Week. Whereas the Constitution of the United States of America, the guardian of our liberties, embodies the principles of limited government and a republic dedicated to rule by law. And whereas September 17th, 2024 marks the 237th anniversary of the framing of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. And whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate it. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Mayor and Council for the town of Lexington, South Carolina, that September 17th through the 23rd, 2024 is hereby declared as Constitution Week in the town of Lexington, and all citizens are encouraged to reaffirm the ideals the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by diligently protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through the guardians of our liberties, dated this 3rd day of September, 2024. Is anyone, yep. Would you like to address us at the mic?
Yes. My name's Paula Coleman. I'm with Daughters of the American Revolution. And I don't know how many of you know a lot about the Daughters of the American Revolution, but it was founded in 1890 on October the 11th. Our objectives from the very beginning were historical, to perpetuate the memory and spirit of men and women who achieved American independence, educational, to carry the injunction of Washington in his farewell address to the American people, to promote as an object of primary importance institutions for the general diffusion of knowledge, thus developing and enlightening public opinion, and patriotic, to cherish, maintain, and extend the institutions of American freedom, to foster true patriotism and to love of country, and to aid in securing mankind all the blessings of liberty. And since the beginning in 1890, we now have over 1 million members. The tradition of celebrating the Constitution was started many years ago, the Daughters of the American Revolution. And in 1955, the DAR petitioned Congress to set aside September the 17th through the 23rd annually to be dedicated for the observance of Constitution Week. It was adopted by Congress in 1956 by President Dwight D. Eisenhower. Our chapter is very busy trying to get high schools involved in Constitution Week, and we therefore have put out, or will have out on the 13th, 7 high schools will have displays. The 2 libraries that we chose this year were Lexington Main Library and Irmo. And we also set out reminders for the community in local restaurants, gun shops, and first responder departments, as well as churches. At this time in history, our country needs our help to make sure that we are able to pass on to the next generations the freedoms we all have enjoyed. We invite you to visit one of our displays and stand up for the Constitution and America.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congressman Wilson, would you like to come up and join us for a picture? Congressman Wilson, would you like to join us for a picture? get to do the next presentation, and it's a very special one to me. I'd like to ask all of our Riley's Drugs people to come forward while I read what I've got to read, if y'all come join us up here. I know they're not shy because I deal with them when I go to pick up prescriptions. Tonight I want to present a key to the city to Riley's Drugs, and as mayor, this is my first time being able to present one of these myself, which is celebrating its 100th anniversary this year. They are dedicated to providing prescriptions, prescription compounding, home medical equipment, and total body wellness to the Lexington community. Riley's Drugs is named for the late Dr. Sid Riley from Batesburg, who opened his first pharmacy in the Red Bank Mill Village of Lexington in 1924. Lightning struck the pharmacy in the 1940s, causing it to burn and prompting him to rebuild Riley's Drugs' second location in 1947 on Columbia Avenue in Lexington. Dr. Riley was the friend, mentor, and eventual business partner to pharmacist Dr. Bob Perry, who joined the Riley's Drugs staff in 1967 after graduating from the USC College of Pharmacy. After 55 years of service to Riley's Drugs and to the town of Lexington, Dr. Perry is enjoying his retirement, and I got to see him this past week. His daughter, Roberta Perry Vining, a second-generation pharmacist and a 1987 graduate of the USC College of Pharmacy, is the current owner of Riley's Drugs. Roberta started working at the pharmacy when she was in high school and was honored to have been mentored by both Dr. Riley and her father, Dr. Perry. In 2012, Riley Drugs relocated down the street from their Columbia Avenue location to 1207 West Main Street, still in the town of Lexington, near the intersection of US Highway 378. Would you like to say anything before I come down?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor Livingston, for this incredible honor, and thank you to everyone here tonight. On behalf of Riley's Drugs and my entire family and some of my employees that are here with me and my dad, who couldn't be here with us tonight, I'm deeply moved to receive the key to the city as we celebrate our 100th year in business. And by the way, I've never received the key to the city. You've never given one I've never received. Riley's Drugs has been a part of Lexington for a century, but it's the people, our loyal customers, dedicated employees, and supportive community that have truly made this milestone possible. We've been through so much together in Lexington, just the explosive growth that we've had all these years, and I can imagine what Lexington looked like when Dr. Riley built that first building. But through it all, Lexington has always been the home for Riley's Drugs, and we're proud to serve you. The recognition is for everyone who's been part of Riley's Drugs over the years. To our patients who have trusted us with their health and well-being, we thank them for their continued support. To our employees, both past and present, we look at them as one of our most valuable assets, and their hard work and commitment are the foundation of our success. I thought today, if Dr. Riley were here, he would be 125 years old, and how proud he would be that he chose Lexington for his home and to start his business, and what a great decision and choice he made. As we look forward to the future, I'm excited about the next chapter for Riley's Drugs. We'll continue to uphold the values that have brought us here: personalized service, a commitment to the community, and a passion for caring for our neighbors. Thank you again for this incredible honor. Here's to the next 100 years.
Thank you.
Let's see.
And mayor and council and attorney and administrator and Chief Green who got me in the door. I'm just grateful to be here, fellow citizens. But again, leave it to the town of Lexington. You've inspired your local member of Congress. And that is that I brought a certificate that I want to present to Roberta and to the Perry family. And it's a certificate of special recognition, congressional, presented to Riley's Drugs, 100th anniversary, in recognition of outstanding and valuable service to the community on behalf of the Congress of the United States. And hey, as I do this, I want to begin to thank y'all for the walkway around the old mill pond. I did the legal work for Vince Egan and Sammy George with Mayor Jimmy Brown to see the mill restored, but y'all are taking it a further step. And then I also need to let you know, and Roberta probably doesn't know this, but actually her dad made criminal law history. He was a victim of a robbery where the robber claimed to have a toy pistol later, okay? And but the doctor knew it was real. But anyway, that was called the toy pistol defense. And so his next door neighbor, local member of the state senate, Joe Wilson, me, I was appalled to find out that he had to prove there was a toy pistol. And so I went to work with the state senate, and now the law has been reversed. Now the criminal has to prove it was a toy pistol, not the victim. And so, and that's resulted in people not using that defense, but also reducing the potential of people losing their lives. So Bobby Perry should always be remembered for that. So God bless each of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, our next presentation is from Police Chief Terrence Green to present a special recognition.
Good evening, Mayor, Town Council, and great citizens of Town of Lexington. It's great to come before you to recognize one of our favorite people with the police department, Ms. Crystal Wallace of Real Estate Made Simple, for her ongoing support of the Lexington Police Department through our Lexington Police Department Foundation. Over the last 2 years, Crystal Wallace has been a chief-level sponsor for our Lexington Police Department Foundation golf tournament, and her donation to the Lexington Police Foundation have totaled more than $10,000. Donations like this go a long ways in supporting the needs of our officers, our department, and fund many of our community-focused events such as our recent National Night Out and our upcoming Fall Festival. Crystal has lived in Lexington for over 30 years, and having this level of support from a local business is appreciated. We would like to, if you could, Mayor, come down. We'd like to present this plaque in appreciation for support.
I consider it an honor to be part of this town. I have been here for 30 years, and just watching how it has changed over those 30 years is amazing. And it's just for the great work that you guys do on town council and the town councils before you and the town councils after you. So keep up the good work. And I love the Old Mill Pond Trail. It's awesome. I did it twice this weekend, so it's fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Now moving into new business, our first item of new business is from Councilmember Todd Lyle.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The county, as we had heard earlier heard a presentation, they amended their animal control ordinance in May, and the town of Lexington now needs to adopt those changes so that it can be enforced within the town limits. As a highlight to some of those main changes, and again, I won't try to do the justice that Ms. Brittany did earlier, but the Lexington County Animal Services will no longer allow the sale or rehoming of dogs or puppies unless recognized with a fancier breed registration as outlined in section 10-32 and section 10-31 of the county's new ordinance or amended ordinance. Lexington County Animal Services requires a microchip now registered with the owner's name, phone number, and address implanted in any dog. That's highlighted in section 10-33. And Lexington County Animal Services no longer allow the sales or the rehoming of pets at any flea market unless meeting the standards of a fancier breed. Section 10-41, subsection C, subsection 1 therein. And the request from the county is included in this bulletin for tonight. And Madam Mayor, I would make a motion for first reading approval of the adoption of the same.
Councilmember Lyles makes a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Councilmember Carnes seconds it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your right hand. And it is unanimous. Our second item of new business is from Mayor Pro Tem Ron Williams, first reading of an ordinance to reinstitute a 3% local accommodations tax.
Thank you, Mayor. State law allows a municipal governing body to adopt a local accommodations tax on charges for lodging. Accommodations tax proceeds must be used for the purposes indicated in the South Carolina Code Section 6-1-530, which are, number one is tourism-related buildings included, but not limited to civic centers, coliseums, and aquariums. Item number two states tourism-related cultural, recreational, or historical facilities. Item three says beach access and renourishment. Item four, which interests most of us, is highways, roads, streets, and bridges providing access to tourist destinations. Number five says advertisements and promotions related to tourism development. 6 is water and sewer infrastructure to serve tourism-related demand. And number 7 is development of workforce housing limited to 15% of proceeds. Operations and maintenance related to these purposes may be funded by accommodations tax. Per the latest data with the South Carolina Revenue and Fiscal Affairs Office, approximately 28 counties and 75 municipalities have a local accommodations tax. The proposed effective date is January 1st, 2025. Initial proceeds for the 2025 fiscal year can be appropriated by the council with adoption of the ordinance. I'll make a motion for first reading approval of an ordinance reinstating a 3% local accommodations tax with the funds being applied to our road and infrastructure fund.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Councilman Michael seconds. Is there any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I'm just going to ask if, I know that Mr. Ford's worked on this a little bit with some of our local businesses and wanted to see if he could share some of that information with us.
Thank you, Councilmember, Mayor, members of council. I did have the opportunity to meet with the management and owners of our local brick and mortar hotels, 6 of the 7, and I hope to be able to meet with the final one before we actually adopt this. It was nice to get to meet those folks. They all shared similar concerns. They wanted town council to be certain to make sure this is spent in accordance with state law. And they thought it was important that you all know that they appreciate the money being spent to promote tourism in the town in whatever ways we can do. And we do a lot of that through current means that we have in place. They also expressed a desire for us to administer the ordinance very easily and efficiently for them. And so we're going to work to make it as seamless for them to comply over time. And they also wanted to make sure that our standards for what constituted a transient accommodation matched the state of South Carolina's definition, and that we do in our ordinance. I thought it was interesting to hear from the businesses, and it kind of goes along with some of the things that were said earlier in the presentations. A lot of our hotels really get a lot of business from sports teams coming into town. And at least 2 of them specifically mentioned that. And they thought it was important that we know that they rely on that kind of tourism in the area to support their business. They also wanted us to recognize that they have a concern that they may experience somewhat of a competitive disadvantage by having this tax reinstated, whereas some of the cities in the county may not adopt it, and that would put them at a competitive disadvantage. Also, they currently have an advantage over folks in the city of Columbia and Richland County because they have the local accommodations tax in Columbia. They were aware that you all had talked about the possibility for some type of tax relief and encouraged the council to consider that as you plan and adopt this ordinance. So as Mr. Williams mentioned tonight, we thought that the use of the funds to be dedicated towards tourism-related streets and roadways in this initial 6-month period of adoption would be an appropriate first step. And then as council looks at the budget for next year, you can then decide exactly how you want this strategically to be applied going forward, whether it's a combination of infrastructure projects, tax relief. That will be for you all to decide through the budgeting process. So again, thanks to all of our local hotels for welcoming me and providing the feedback. And we've got some good folks who are working in these businesses, a lot of family-owned businesses, and they're a real important asset in this community.
And Stuart, I think that you heard from council tonight that we really would like for staff, Rachel, to take a look at how we could possibly lower some property tax for our citizens if we put this in place, because this is from visitors that come into the town.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I just want to piggyback off of what you just said, just a clarification and maybe some affirmation from you. In our last meeting when we discussed this, I had a resident reach out in my neighborhood that wanted just to know, is this a tax? And I know the answer, I'm just asking you for those listening. This is not a tax that we charge the hotels directly. This is a tax that we charge the visitors to the hotels, the people that are staying in the hotel. So typically people coming from out of town, traveling to our town, and we tax on that hotel room. And the hotel collects that tax and then pays it to the town. Well, would be paying it to the town.
That is correct. Just as they do with the state sales tax, the state accommodations tax, the local accommodations tax would be collected and remitted. It would be collected directly from their guests.
Okay. I just wanted to make it clear that it's not a tax that we're imposing on a business in the town. It is something we're collecting from visitors.
Right. And it is being used primarily by visitors into the town. And so it does provide relief to our local taxpayers because it gets to pay for part of the services that are needed by folks who come into our town. I put in some of the data in the cover sheet there that shows you the number of people that visit the town, the number of nights they stay in town, and the economic impact that they bring. This is information derived from the tourism study that we participated in a couple of years back.
Thank you.
Councilman Cars, did you have something? Anybody else have anything? So we had a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. And it is unanimous. Our next item of new business is from Councilmember Michaels, policy update town vehicles.
It has become necessary to update and consolidate policies related to vehicles owned by the town of Lexington. A draft policy is attached for review and consideration. I make a motion to approve this draft town vehicle policy effective immediately.
Councilmember Michaels makes a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Councilmember Smith seconds it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your right hand. And it is unanimous. Next item of business is presented by Councilmember Todd Carnes, resolution committing to providing a local match for MASC Hometown Economic Development Grant.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This resolution is made in regards to a submission of an application for the Hometown Economic Development Grant Funds to the Municipal Association of South Carolina on or before September 27th, 2024. The grant requires a minimum 15% match for a municipality of our size with total award potential of $25,000. I make a motion to adopt this resolution committing to providing a local match of $15,000 or up to $3,750 for the MASC Hometown Economic Development Grant and following its procurement policy when securing services and products with grant funds.
Thank you, Councilman Carnes. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your right hand. And it is unanimous. Next up is first reading annexation of Lexington County Tax Map 4300-04-047, located in the 400 block of Cherokee Trail. Councilmember Michaels.
Kimberly Wingard Sumner and Wendy Wingner Gay own 34.30 acres on Cherokee Trail and have petitioned to annex the property. A 68-unit subdivision is being planned on the site. Properties in the town near this one are zoned protective residential 2, and Cherokee Trail is classified as a local road. The Planning Commission reviewed this annexation during their August meeting and recommended annexing the property with protective residential zoning. The Commission recommended classifying Cherokee Trail as a local road. I make a motion for first reading approval.
Councilmember Michaels makes a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Councilmember Carnes seconds it. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to ask our Director of Transportation, Randy Edwards, if he could come up and give us his thoughts and or any comments that may have been generated at a planning commission related to traffic for this subdivision, or was this something that traffic-wise we reviewed in-house, or is this something that a traffic study was required or provided for?
A traffic study was done relative to a warrant for the improvements needed at the driveways or access points to the roads. And that showed that while the subdivision doesn't generate enough traffic to actually warrant improvements, the developer is in fact adding right turn lanes in both directions, so one on one side, one on the other, to that neighborhood. So the generation of traffic from a 68-unit subdivision relative to the traffic on Old Cherokee Trail is essentially doesn't move the needle. So now, of course, obviously, that'll add trips to, Old Cherokee and North Lake and other surrounding areas, as it would any other neighborhood. But this particular neighborhood relative to what we do not have a local transportation improvement plan project in and around that area. nor would probably 68 units actually move the needle on that because it's measured by level of service. So to answer your question, yes, we evaluated it in-house, but the developer also went ahead and did an analysis for those turn lanes, and albeit not required technically, they went ahead and added them.
And they preemptively brought that plan to us for the turn lanes.
That is correct.
And then Cherokee Trail, I was trying to remember where it dumps out onto Old Cherokee.
Just across from where the par
met-
3 goes up through there, that intersection.
Where it intersects with Old Cherokee, is there a traffic signal there, or does it?
No, sir.
Okay.
It's a stop-controlled intersection with a right turn only on the opposing side. There's no lefts coming out of the dirt road portion of Old Cherokee Trail.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I think I would just like to point out, the way this is read, it talks about the areas around are protected residential too, but I think it's worth noting that the town of Lexington is taking this in as protected residential, or what we were earlier called the ghost of PR1. It did not exist, but I'm glad to see that development is doing that. This is responsible, and it's just slightly less than 2 units per acre. So commend this property owner and this developer for doing that.
Thank you. Anything else? All those in favor, raise your right hand. And it is unanimous. Our last item of new business is from Council Member Gavin Smith, PFAS litigation.
Okay, bear with me. Hopefully my voice does not go out. In September 2023, Town Council agreed to pave 4 dirt roads located in town limits and maintain, wait, I'm so sorry. I'm reading the wrong agenda item. I'm reading your update, Randy. I'm like, this isn't PFAS. Yeah. Let me start over. Attached is a proposed fee agreement with the Richardson Law Firm in Columbia for representation in the ongoing national PFAS Forever Chemicals lawsuit. Council has previously discussed this in executive session pursuant to sections 30-4-70, subsection A, subsection 2. This firm already represents the Joint Commission and several other cities in South Carolina that are under similar circumstances after opting out of the initial class action settlements. As such, council was asked to give the mayor authority to sign the agreement.
Councilmember Smith makes the motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Councilmember Carnes seconds it. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your right hand. And it is unanimous. Next up, we have an FYI item from Transportation Director Randy Edwards.
Which I already started to read for you.
I won't bore you with the reading.
Not real sure about your ability to read, Randy. We're just taking care of you. Doing what we can.
There you go. So as you may recall, in September 2023, it was brought before council to partner with Lexington County in paving 4 dirt roads that still remain in the town of Lexington off of Harmon Street. After some discussion with Lexington County, and we worked out some details, we have solidified a design firm, which is one of their on-call firms, which does a lot of their dirt road designs. And what we've done is we've entered into contract with them for an $81,987 to perform the design necessary for all 4 roads. And that would be subtracted from the approved amount of $435,000 that was approved last September. The schedule is expected that surveys will begin in October, with that being completed mid-November, designs towards spring, with the anticipated construction to begin late spring, early summer. That actual schedule has to still be worked out, as that's an in-house paving project for Lexington County. And so with that, I just wanted to bring you that update and let you know that we are locked in and moving forward.
Is that for all four?
That is for all 4 roads.
Awesome.
One thing I wanted to make you aware of is that we will be sending out letters to all the property owners on those roads once we get the actual schedule from the surveyor, just to make them aware that, that's who this is the activity be going on, and in fact that they work for us, the town.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
They're surveying, just to be clear, they're only surveying to find the property lines, and that's not where the road's gonna go to necessarily.
So the survey is to identify all the lay of the land, the drainage, all that type of stuff, topographic survey. Also to identify where the right-of-way lines are. We have, again, working with Lexington County, walked through all the roads and have talked about, how we can do reduced pavement sections, those types of things to, kind of keep it kind of in the condition it currently is. There are limited, but some utility relocations. You just don't want a utility pole in the pavement. So we'll need to move some of those, but the biggest challenges anticipated are drainage easements, as there's currently drainage going there now, but there's no easement. So that's another reason to do a complete survey and have that stuff so we can truly iron that out, so that it's in perpetuity, it's all been recorded.
Thank you, Andy. Are there any questions from the news media? Nope. From the public, is there any comments on items on the agenda tonight? And if you come up and identify yourself, and then if you will, you're limited to 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Judy Quails-Tyner. I live at 204 Rapala Way in Bar Lake subdivision. Question about the PFAS litigation. How long have you guys known that there's PFAS in our water supply?
I'm gonna let staff answer this.
Well, the EPA notified the water companies in 2022. Everybody gets their water from the Lake Murray plant that's owned by West Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
There's all these bad things in the water that have been there for longer than 2022. And nobody's going to disclose this to people. These chemicals that I've been feeding my family through making mashed potatoes with my tap water cause some serious health concerns for people. It's not just, it's where I live, it's where you guys live, it's where everybody lives. So, yay, great, you're gonna sue to fix the water, but they're telling us it's gonna be 3 years to put in either a carbon filtration system or a reverse osmosis system at the plant. And that's all up to West Columbia. So how are you, is this supposed to move West Columbia along, pay for these updates, which is out 3 years out, but it may not happen at all because they can get another extension and kick it down the road. In the meantime, our kids, okay, are drinking this water at their school, at home. A refrigerator filter does not take it out. Boiling it does not take it out. A Brita water thing does not take it out of the water. The only thing that takes it out is a carbon filtration system or a reverse osmosis system or distilled water. So we now have to purchase for our home a reverse osmosis system, which isn't good either because that filters out all the good stuff that makes the water safe, like kills the bacteria. This is a health problem. We're killing our children. And you guys, I see there's 3 realtors here, just approved 68 new houses for the little bit of green that's left on the map in the town of Lexington, without a second thought. A creek runs right through there. this litigation, what does this litigation do, Mr. Gavin Smith? No, what did you just pass? To sue?
What we passed was the authority to allow the mayor to enter into a retainer agreement with a law firm.
To get money to help with this problem?
To sue 3M and DuPont and the makers of the chemicals.
Okay, how is that gonna, okay, that lawsuit could take forever.
It could. It most certainly will.
What are you gonna do in the meantime to get West Columbia to move along on fixing the water plant that you guys get water from, that Joint Municipal gets water from? They're saying 3 years. That's 3 years of PFAS is going into our children that can cause high blood pressure, obesity, high cholesterol, through no means of these kids, no matter what activity levels or non-activity levels, they drink this stuff, your kidneys have to filter this stuff out. So what do you think is going to happen to the kidneys of the people that are drinking this water? That don't know. They don't know.
Ma'am, we believe this is a real problem. It's nationwide. It's not specific to just Lexington. But I can assure you there's a lot of smart minds that are working to try to resolve that. And I can promise you that once we as the town of Lexington know and have more direction, that we will communicate that to everyone who is consuming water, because that's a real problem. And I understand and agree with your concerns.
And I will let you know that you have
that now.
I will let you
to
know that you
people?
have 1 minute left, okay?
You're not going to communicate that to the customers now. You're not going to tell the people that buy the water in a notice in their bill, hey, you're being exposed to these chemicals.
I believe 3M and DuPont have been required to make all those disclosures.
Nobody's made a disclosure. I found this out because I luckily found a USA Today article that had all this information in.
There was a movie called Darker Waters that came out about 10 or 12 years ago highlighting the 1990s, a trial lawyer up in Pennsylvania, West Virginia.
Okay, so you've known about this for a long time, that it's in the water in Lexington? Because I just moved here in 2016 and had no idea that it was in the water in Lexington.
I can assure you, like he said, we're doing all that we can do at this time. We're trying to move this forward. That's the reason we passed this tonight. We are working on this. The federal government passes it down. We're working on fixing what they pass to us and tell us.
I think you need to do an awareness and education for the people that are taking this water in.
Those are great points. We appreciate you bringing that to our attention.
Some kind of education.
We agree. Thank you.
We appreciate that. And can you give us your address too, so she can record
She
it?
did.
You got it? Okay.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
since we're on the subject, could we ask our Director of Utilities to come up and, can you just come up and fill us in on the size and scope of this issue? I just want to make sure it's presented properly of the scope of what's currently happening in the United States in the realm of PFAS and what macro, so it's a macro problem, and what macro solutions are in play.
It's a macro issue. PFAS has been discovered all over the world. They found it in glaciers that's sitting there. So chemicals that have been in use, such as fire foam, clothing, pots, things, everyday use, has contributed to the issue. It's out in the environment. It's widespread. It's more than national. It's countries. They've discovered the impact of it, and they are now working to find treatments for it on point with what's available currently. Some of those treatments are still going to bring up issues in terms of, okay, we have carbon and we take it out. What do we do with that now? So it's still an issue that's in play. There are technologies that are being tested. There's one in Orange County, California, that's being piloted. That looks like that'll be pretty amazing, actually, but here again, it's years off. One of the biggest issues we have, West Columbia is moving forward with the treatment. One, it's getting the supplies that's necessary, it's arranging the funds, and it's actually finding a firm that can build the treatment. So that's kind of where we are. We did have a meeting with West Columbia. They're all on board. We don't have to push them to do the right thing. Joint Municipal was a part of that meeting. They were in full agreement, as were we, to do the right thing. So we let Stewart know the approximate scope of that. He's on board with that. So we're doing our best to plan for it.
So just for clarity's sake, at a macro level, there's certainly things you can do at a micro level, but at a macro level, did I hear you right to say there's one experimental macro facility that is coming online in Orange County, California?
They are experimenting with a treatment that would treat the solids piece of it. It is limited in scope and size. It's a container type treatment that you run through. So that treatment was limited to, I think, 300,000 gallons of solids or so that passed through it. Once you start it, it treats it, and it's almost a self-propelling type thing. But I guess if anyone's going to get it right, Californians will let you know if it's working.
Are you aware of anything on the Eastern Seaboard?
Well, that technology was actually developed by a group out of Duke University, and I can't remember the company now. I thought it was fascinating, but the technology did develop on the East Coast and in the South, really. But they were looking for a place to trial it that would fit, and Orange County was the first one.
Thank you.
So can staff work on a campaign to, I know that City of Columbia did a campaign once they signed with the attorneys. Maybe we can get with them and do something similar so we can let people know, because what she said about what you use to can cause some issues. So I think it needs to be fully aware, but get with City of Columbia, and they did some things too.
Madam Mayor, may I make a couple of points? The EPA's final rules were just established this year, and basically the proposed rules were adopted. So any detectable level of PFAS is going to be required to be addressed. Basically, if you can find it in a test, it's too high. And so that is what every system in America, because most of them, one way or the other, will be dealing with this issue, will be dealing with, is getting our levels of detection below the maximum, which means we will not be able to detect it at all. And this will not be an inexpensive proposition. It is a substantial capital and operational investment that can be expected to occur. And that is exactly why that those that have created these chemicals are being held responsible. And the town, as many other utilities across the country, are fighting for the citizens, the customers, because we've all, every one of us, every person in America has been affected by these chemicals. And so we are part of the solution.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I just want to say I feel what you're saying, because I just found out about this PFAS from that movie. And that's just been in the past 6 months. And I was dumbfounded and just could not believe all that this movie came out with. And me not knowing, about this stuff and the lawsuit and everything. But just know that we are taking it serious, but it is coming down from, like you said, all of America is dealing with it, and we're going to do everything possible to keep moving it down, even as expensive as it can be. So just know we're taking it seriously.
Any other public comments? there any questions or comments from the staff? Have anything? I'd like to take a moment and recognize our new employees hired by the town in the month of August. In the police department, Matthew Newton. In the utilities department, Andrew Stubbing, Christopher Estrada, Landon Davis, Stephen Mashburn, and Evan Rivenber. Did I get those right? Okay. Welcome to our team and our family, and we're glad you're here with us. That concludes our business for this evening. Thank you for watching the Town Council meeting for the Town of Lexington. This meeting was held at Town Hall on Tuesday evening, September 2024. A recording of this meeting will be available for viewing on the town's YouTube channel. Without objection, we are adjourned.